Hello and welcome to the Candlelight Podcast, where I, Mohamed Abdalla, talk about different topics, including some of my favorites, which are movies, martial arts, and philosophy. Let's start with this week's quote. Confidence. It's the food of the wise man, but the liquor of the fool. That quote is actually brought to you by not a historical character, it's actually a fictional character, which we have had, I believe, previously on this podcast, but we've never had it from such a small character in a show. It's actually from the character Vikram from the show The Office, and he's actually that was a cameo for him. I think he only came on the show once, and he uttered this profound quote, a very interesting and profound quote. Guys, I don't watch The Office. I've only watched one episode of it, but I found this quote actually somewhere on the internet, I think, during the week while I was just like surfing the web, as I like to do. So, and I just kind of was awestruck by it. I liked it. Confidence. It's the food of the wise man, but the liquor of the fool. And I haven't seen something that obviously this quote is very profound and true. However, what can we say is an embodiment of this quote? What event has recently happened, or at least in recent history happened, that really embodies this quote? I got an event in mind. UFC 229, Khabib versus Conor. When Khabib Nurmagomedov, or let me just say it right. Why did I say it the Americanized way? Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. That fight was an embodiment, a true manifestation, a proper manifestation of this quote, because both guys were confident. Both guys were very confident going into that fight. However, you can understand, you can see the difference between the confidence of Khabib and the confidence of Conor. Khabib had this confidence that he knows who he is, as we said last week. I think last week or the week before that's quote, when Khabib said, "I know who I am." He has that confidence in himself. He knows who he is, and nothing's going to deter him. He fears no man. He fears nothing on this earth. He has that type of confidence because he's just so good at what he does, because he dedicated his whole life into training and becoming the best, that he's just not afraid. He's that confident. He knows what he's capable of. And that was the food for the wise man. However, I didn't make the important distinction between these two guys' confidence, actually. Khabib, well, let me actually just go on and say why am I stammering all over here? Let me just actually describe what Conor's confidence is like, after I've just described what Khabib's confidence is like, and then compare and contrast. Conor's confidence comes from, I find it difficult to actually say the difference without straight away pointing out how it relates to the quote. So Conor's confidence obviously comes from him training hard and putting in the work, yes, but it also is a front somewhat. He's kind of trying to be more boastful, be more talkative, be the loudest person in the room in order to make the other person feel unconfident. Make them feel like, maybe this guy is really that good. I can't beat him. And it actually worked against other people, like even champions like Jose Aldo and Eddie Alvarez. That's how Conor beat them. He got to them mentally, and then he just finished what he kind of won in the press conference. He won the press conferences, and then he just finished the fight. Like Nate Diaz said, not like these clowns you punked to the press conference. No one want to see that. You beat them already. That was the easy fight, according to Nate Diaz, which I subscribe to. I do have that train of thought as well when it comes to how Conor beats these two champions, respectively. And so coming back to this quote, so food for the wise man, liquor for the fool. Ironically, Conor had his own brand of whiskey that he was kind of promoting at the Khabib fight. So this is actually kind of perfectly placed quote for this, perfect scenario to use for this quote. So the thing is with Khabib and Conor allowed his confidence to become arrogance. He was overconfident. He was overzealous, overambitious. Not because he, and I'm not saying this just because he was a worse fighter than Habib. Habib was the better fighter, is the better fighter. Obviously, he beat him without with leaving question to whether or not it was a fluke. Habib dominated him and then finished him. You just dragged down the fight just to show him how much better he was than him. That's why he didn't finish it in the second round. He made it go into all the way to the fourth just to play with Conor. Kind of like a playing with your food type thing. So Habib is the better fighter. That's obvious. I'm not saying Conor's overconfident. I am saying that Conor's overconfident because of his lack of skills to deal with Habib. He was overconfident. He thought he could beat him, but he couldn't. That's one reason. But he was arrogant. He was arrogant because he really stepped out of line with the things that he said, and was drunk in his own ambitions and just didn't care about what was coming out of his mouth. Which the words of a fool is not important, honestly. But when the fool starts to gain a lot of influence on the people, that's when it becomes a problem. That's why when a hobo, out on the street saying crazy stuff, you leave him go, because he's a hobo out on the street. However, when some guy has a platform and he starts saying some crazy stuff and a lot of people believe him, that's when you have to deal with the guy, because now he's becoming a problem. Anyway, back to the Conor fight. Oh man, my God, how many times did I deter and go on to tangents? So anyway, yeah, so Conor was arrogant, insulted Habib's family, insulted Habib's country, insulted Habib's religion, and that's why he was actually, a fool in that fight. An overconfident, arrogant fool. He had the confidence, but he didn't go about it the right way, like Habib did, who stayed calm, cool, and collected, kept it about the fight, kept it about the sport, didn't go out of his way to make fun of Conor's family or his way of life way of life. Well, he did kind of, comment on Conor's way of life, but he didn't, bash Conor's, something personal to Conor, such as his country, family, things that are personal, because Conor's obviously not religious. So it's not, he can't really come up from that angle, which he shouldn't, even if he was able to, because Conor has other stuff that are important to him, not religion. This dude is as worldly as he gets. So there you go. I hope that everything that I just said made sense. Because, man, I definitely should get someone on the podcast with me, because after half a year of podcasting, if you could believe it's been that long, I do feel more comfortable bouncing my ideas off of someone in a conversation / dialogue, rather than me simply monologuing about anything that comes to mind. So yeah, I think I should get someone with me on the podcast, because man, do I suck at just talking to myself, or talking about myself, rather, and having it recorded for many people to potentially watch and listen to. Anyway, so for the third time, my God, back to the quote and the fight. The problem, let me actually, let me just say, the last thing and move on from that. The thing I want to actually extract from this quote is the idea of how confidence and cognitive dissonance relate to each other. So, how is a person confident? We've already talked about this. We've explained this obviously just now as I was talking, as I was rambling, stammering all over the place, and we've talked about this in previous episodes. Confidence is you putting in the work, then having faith in yourself. Having faith that you can do what you need to do because you've practiced, because you've tried for so long. You've put in the work. You know who you are. You know that you're not gonna buck. Wait, I didn't say. I didn't use the right word. You know you're not gonna buckle, not buck. You're not gonna buckle, and you're confident in yourself. You have that self-assurance. However, cognitive dissonance comes into play, and when it comes into play, if it comes into play, it really affects confidence. And I've had experience with this. When you think of yourself as something, you want to project, you want to have a vision of yourself as someone, but the actions that you do are not becoming of that person that you want to be. So I want to be let's say, for example, let's say I want to be a very, I want to see myself as the best fighter. I don't put in the training, and then I don't really diet that well, and then I'm confused as to why am I not getting better? Why am I not really a really good fighter? Well, that's because you didn't put in the training, and that will affect your confidence going into, the field, which in this case is the fight. You will be doubting yourself, questioning yourself. It's like, am I really a good fighter? Do I really have the tools to go through with this? Because you don't kind of have. Wait, I actually had another thought, but I don't want to go into that. So back at track. Why am I all over the place, my man? Come on, focus. So yeah, you're going to that fight, and you're not really sure of yourself. That has to do with confidence and somewhat to do with cognitive dissonance, because you have this idea of yourself, but you're not living up to that idea properly. You're not doing the actions that will get you to become that person in that idea. So now you have doubts, and that will come, and these kind of and you'll act out in some sort of way because of cognitive dissonance, which can cause anxiety, stress, elevated stress that you don't need, and you will feel it just makes, in short, it gives you less serotonin. You have less serotonin in your brain. That hormone is going down. The more that hormone goes up, the better for you actually as a person. But when it goes down, you are generally less disciplined and less of a better person when it comes to, you want. Shoot. I'm trying to say something, and then I realized that I'm saying something wrong. Like I was just about to say that the more serotonin you have, the better person you have. No, that's not true. Bad people can have very high serotonin, but high levels of serotonin. But what I'm trying to say is that if you want to be the best version of yourself, you're going to have to do things that increase your serotonin, which is disciplining yourself. Following a program that makes. Not necessarily following a program, but doing the actions that would make you be the you that you want to be. You are who you choose to be, to quote a previous podcast, or the quote that movie comes from, the Iron Giant, or the quote that movie was based on, from the novel, which is the Iron Man. if that makes any sense, guys. I'm just kind of rambling. I'm rambling today. Anyway, speaking of, summer, I guess. Although I don't have vacation plans this summer, I don't plan on really traveling. Maybe I will, actually. But I don't really have a plan for it now. I'm really enjoying my summer so far, even though I don't really have plans for it. Vacation plans where I travel. Why do I repeat myself like that? I'm really enjoying my summer so far, yes. That's what I'm trying to say. I've been spending a lot of time with my friends and family. And next week, hopefully, I'm going to go to a theme park in Dubai. IMG. The IMG theme park, which is an awesome theme park. I've been to it, I think, twice now. And I'm really looking forward to go to it again. Man. Twice or maybe 3 times. I'm not sure. But hey, it's been a while since I've been. Want to go again. Gonna go enjoy myself with my family and friends. Well, actually, my family. It's a family thing, so friends are not going to be present. Unless, counting my cousins who are friends, who happen to be family. Anyway, moving on. I've been surprisingly busy this week, and didn't actually make the time to watch The Lion of the Desert film. But inshallah, I will watch it and give y'all my review of it. And talk about it. See if it's actually cool, and if it's actually a good representation of the history that happened. Yeah, interesting. So, and guys, I've actually been kind of thinking about the structure of my podcast and how it's MMA at the end while the important matters are in the beginning. How it's weird. Usually you'd like to conclude something with the main things that you want people to take away from the thing that they've just observed or experienced. So in the podcast, I should actually Look, this I kind of do this, but not the most ideal way, I guess. I start my podcast speaking of something that's profound, something that'll make you, think, contemplate, and then I kind of conclude my podcast with a large segment of just talking about MMA, and then I put in the quote that I used in the beginning in just the last sentence I say, which is, I'm trying to, conclude it to bring it full circle, but I'm not sure if that's the best way. I should maybe do it in a different way, something that's better, because you're not gonna take away all the things we talked about in the beginning of the episode at the end, I think, at least with this structure right now, with this format, because I'm talking so much about MMA that you guys are, all that you're gonna come out with from this podcast is just the MMA stuff that I'm talking about. Speaking of which, MMA. Should we get into that right now, or is it too early in the podcast? I don't know. Let's get into it. It's past the halfway point of the podcast. I think we could get into it. Yeah, I really need to reconfigure this, by the way, the structure. So, Jairzinho Rozenstruik knocked out Augustus Sakai at the end of the first round. That was a crazy knockout, and it was actually very becoming of Jairzinho, because Jairzinho. I don't know how you say it properly, and yeah, it's always weird the way he knocks out people. He knocks them out. Not only is it out of nowhere, but it's like when you least expect it, and it's like at the end of the rounds. Like when he knocked out Alistair Overeem, it was the very end of the fight. There was only a few seconds left, and Overeem was going to win the decision. But then Rozenstruik knocked him out. And now, it was like the end of the first round. We didn't expect it to happen in the last 5 seconds, but 10 seconds, but it did. So yeah, Jairzinho Rozenstruik is back in the contender column. I think. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, actually. Because there's so many contenders such as Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov, and, Stipe Miocic, let's not forget, and Derek Lewis. Yeah. Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades was just knocked out by Lewis, but I think Curtis Blades is actually a good next fight for Jairzinho. See who gets to stay, who gets to actually become a contender. They're both out of the being title contenders. So, top 5. So maybe if these two duke it out, we get to see a proper contender. But hey, we'll see what happens. Is there anything else, kind of like important that came out of there? Santiago. Oh, well, not necessarily something that important necessarily, but Santiago Ponzinibbio fought Miguel Baiza. I think that's how you say their names. And man, it was a war. It was just 3 rounds, and as the fight went on, the better and better and better the fight got, up until the last second, where Santiago knocked Miguel's mouthpiece out in the last second of the fight. It was crazy, guys. It was a crazy fight. It was enjoyable. But hey, see, like I told you guys, the cards that you don't expect to be awesome, that you don't expect to have good, good fights, turn out to be bangers. It's weird. So anyway, UFC 263, I've talked about this a bunch, is coming up with Izzy versus Marvin Vettori. Now, I've talked about this a bunch, and I think I've already made my picks. I think Israel is going to beat Marvin. I think Davison is going to beat Brandon. I think Leon is going to beat Nate Diaz. And Bilal is going to beat Damian Maia. Yeah, that's the main card at least. And that's it. Like, that's the main card. And the prelims have good fights. Chase Hooper, for some reason, is actually on the early prelims. For some reason, I'm actually going to send this to my friend. Be like, why the heck? Why is Chase Hooper at the very end? He's in the prelim. 1 second. The same friend. What in the world? As soon as I was about to text this friend, he texts me. Dude, this is weird. I guess I have to respond to his text now. Shoot, no, it's part of a conversation that we were having before I started recording. But I was talking. Oh, actually, it kind of relates to what I'm talking about right now. UFC 263. You know what I said? This is what I said. He sent me something about Brandon Moreno, just a meme about Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo, and I was like, yeah, I'm rooting for. Even though I think Davison's gonna win, I'm rooting for Moreno to win. I just hope he doesn't. And then this is what I said to my friend. I just hope he doesn't get involved with the cartels and stays safe. You know for a fact that the cartels want to be associated with the world champion. And then my friend was like, what? Like, basically, what are you on about? And then I'm like, I don't know. I've just been reading up on the Mexican cartel, and they seem to basically control everything in Mexico. A UFC champion would be a great person to keep close. You know? Let's see what he wrote. So he just wrote this, I think. Bro, they have a lot of control, but majority of Mexico is out of their reach. My cousins visited from... Oh, shoot, I kind of forgot. This friend that I'm talking about is half Mexican, so he knows more than me, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot. I didn't keep that in mind as I was texting that. But hey, he definitely has more of insight in something like that. They have a lot of control, but majority of Mexico is out of their reach. My cousins visited from Mexico and told me that they're not as big as people make them up to be. Also, they won't have any influence on Moreno. This isn't home Hollywood movie. I don't know what that meant, but I think he means this isn't a Hollywood movie. I'm just gonna text him what I just said that I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot you got Mexican family. One second. Let me actually turn off the silent mode so that you can hear me text. Can you hear that? Yeah, it's not very. Yeah, it's not very audible. I expected it to be more audible. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm actually sorry that I'm not saying anything, but I'm kind of like thinking about what I'm gonna text. So what I texted so far is like, oh yeah, I forgot you got family there. Um, but isn't like this is what I read. Aren't some big hotels, you know, and the government itself basically controlled by them as in the cartel. But I hope, yeah, I actually this kind of uplifting because hopefully the cartels and Moreno never cross paths and they don't have influence on him. I hope he stays pure, stays a family man, working hard, being the champ. I hope he wins. By the way, I am rooting for Brandon Moreno, but I think Davidson's gonna get this one. And as for the welterweight, I'm not really rooting for one over the other. I just want it to be a good fight. But I think Leon's gonna get this. And as for the other welterweight fight, Bilal Muhammad, I'm definitely. Oh, I think my friend texted back. Bilal Muhammad What am I saying? Ah, man. I don't know what I'm saying. And by the way, guys, this is all real time. I'm not cutting any of this out. You're gonna have a full display on how weird my mind is going, as you have for the past half year, basically. So, but I don't know what's going on with me today. I think it's just me talking to myself. It's difficult to focus when I don't have a person that I'm talking to. So I don't know. That's why YouTubers have a lot of cuts in their videos, and they kind of peer to the script before talking again to the camera. And that's what I should do, by the way. I should actually have a script and not necessarily have a script. No, make a YouTube channel. I don't know. Maybe I should do that. Well, I do have a YouTube channel, yes, but maybe I should make a YouTube channel that kind of where I talk to the camera and you guys can actually see me. But anyway, yeah. For the Bilal Muhammad fight, I'm definitely rooting for my brother Bilal Muhammad, my Palestinian brother. I really hope he gets the W. Man, it would be great. Oh, my friend just texted back. Depends on location. And I'm like, I see. Just like, I see. Anyway. So yeah, I've talked about UFC 263 too much at this point. I just hope to watch the card, to watch the fights, and then I will talk to you guys about it some more, chew your ear off about it next week after I've watched the fights, which are Sunday for us. It's Sunday for us because in the UAE time, Sunday 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is at least better than what the Europeans have, which is 3 a.m. It's just in who's awake at 3 a.m.? No one, except for yeah, except for people who have to wake up and watch the fights. Yeah, but for me, it's good actually because waking up at 5 or 4, now 4 rather because it's summer. To pray a Fajr, just pray the morning prayer, and then you can get to catch the fights. So it's actually not a problem for us here in the UAE because we don't get up early in the morning anyway. So now we just have to stay up and watch the fights. But it's not ideal. We prefer it to be sometime else, but hey, there you go. So anyway, the week after 263 is Dan Ige versus the Korean Zombie. That looks like a cool fight to make at featherweight. Let's see. They both are coming off of losses. I hope they do well. I hope they both do well, and it's a good fight. Korean Zombie always gives us good fights. And then you got the week after that, Gane versus Volkov, Alexander Volkov versus Cyril Gane. That's going to be a good fight because now these two are contenders, and whoever wins this probably has one more fight to go before fighting for the title. Or maybe even, and just gets to fight for the title right away. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, these are good. This card is surprisingly, it's in the UFC Apex, but it has a lot of Russian fighters on it. Like check out Shavkat Rakhamonov, Sergey Khandozko, if I'm saying their names right, Ramazan Emiev. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but hey, and Alexander Volkov, obviously. And then, of course, after the week after that, you've got UFC 264, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. That's a great fight. I can't wait to see that. Dustin Poirier, I hope you get the win again. Hope you get to fight for the title and win. You deserve it, man. And then I hope Islam Makhachev comes in and takes the title, because I hope Islam Makhachev becomes a champion. But I want to see Poirier as champion as well. So yeah, man, very interesting stuff coming up that week. Very interesting stuff coming up these next few weeks, but I'm really excited for this card, man. UFC 263 is just so stacked. Can't wait to see it. I'm gonna actually. Oh, by the way, I'm actually gonna hopefully, if I wake up on time, because I say 6. The main card starts at 6, so 6 in the morning. So I have to wake up at like 4:30, which I generally do. Generally have to anyways, but I have to actually drive from Sharjah to Dubai and beat the traffic because there's a lot of traffic in the weekday mornings. So yeah, Sunday is a weekday for us, by the way, at least so far, because they're gonna change it. They're gonna make it a weekend, then Monday is the first weekday. Anyway, I'm gonna have to actually drive to Dubai, and to drive to Dubai and in the morning and a weekday is hard because there's a lot of traffic coming from Sharjah to Dubai. But I'm gonna beat the traffic by waking up super early to go to Dubai and actually catch the fight card with this friend that I am texting right now. The one that I just texted who has family in Mexico. Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. And the summer's shaping up to be good as well. I hope, even though I don't really have plans, like I said again, I'm really enjoying the summer so far, and I do have plans on to enjoy it more, such as going to the theme park next weekend and doing more stuff in between, doing more things. So anyway, this was the Candlelight Podcast by yours truly, Mohamed Abdalla. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you come back for more. And once again, confidence, it's the food of the wise man, but the liquor of the fool. See you guys in the next one. Peace.